Welcome to Nameless Debate Radio, where radioactivity is contagious.
Yeah. So instinct. So from what? So you're an atheist, are you?
Sure am.
So you believe that in science completely then?
Once more, I believe in nature. Yes.
Okay. So do you believe in evolution?
Yes.
Okay. Before we start, I'm a Muslim. Okay. I'm a Sunni background Muslim. I am a Sufi, Qadri, Ashri, and my madhab is a Hanafi. Okay. So let's just clarify that. And my theological purpose and understanding is from Ashri perspective. And so I'm going to speak from my understanding of Islam and explain to you using science why evolution is wrong. Okay. So before we start, I want to discuss the basis of Charles Darwin's theory on evolution. So Charles Darwin believes that evolution was basically he discovered first evolution in animals. Okay. Personally, myself, I also believe in evolution of animals, but I do not believe in the evolution of humans. Okay, I think this is a false. Yes, of course.
So, what exactly is the distinction that you think exists between animals and humans?
Sorry, can you repeat your question? I can't really hear you as such.
He said, what distinction do you make between animals and humans?
What distinction? Well, you see now, a human has a brain, as all animals do as well. Human has been given, in my opinion, by God, the ability to do things that majority of creatures can't do.
You're gonna have to clarify that one. I don't accept that definition.
You don't accept? Okay, fine. Let me explain. Let me expand upon that definition. So what I mean by this definition is that the fact that God has given us abilities to do certain things, i.e., we can create technology, we create houses, we create all these amazing things that are, in a sense, are abnormal, but animals cannot do. They do it, but not as good as humans. Allah has given us the ability to do things in an enhanced sense.
Okay. Isn't it also possible that we evolved to be better at it than animals?
No, I do not believe in that.
No. I didn't ask if you believed it. I asked if it's possible. Is that also possible?
I do not believe it's possible. I do not believe in evolution. So if I do not believe in evolution, I do not believe in the possibility of it either.
Okay, so could you explain to me what exactly you think evolution is?
Okay, so evolution is basically, from Charles Darwin's perspective, is where an animal has to adapt to a certain climate, and so over time, for example, there's been many cases, for example, where an animal goes to a different area, and over time it has to adapt to that time, and so over time it evolves to adapt to that climate or whatever. So, for example,
who's got the background air rushing past?
Hello.
Do you want to mute yourself, Vivian, until you have to speak?
Hello. What did you say?
Oh, I was just asking Vivian to mute himself while he's not talking. Just because it makes it super hard to hear.
Okay. Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I was just asking Vivi to turn down, to mute his mic while he's not talking, because it makes it very hard to hear.
Okay, that's fine. So as I was saying, okay, so evolution, in my opinion, is a falsehood, okay? I'll explain to you why. Minimal gene theory says that no animal can go below the border of 265 genes. It also says no human can go below the border below 365 genes. Neither can an animal be created from 0 genes, and neither can a human be created from 0 genes. Evolution believe that we are molecules in the sea created from 0 genes. So using minimal gene theory, you've basically disproved the entire concept of evolution completely. And if you don't believe in minimal gene theory, you've disproved life itself, in a sense.
Okay, so no, that's not actually true, right? The minimal genome concept assumes that genomes can be reduced to a bare minimum. Now, that is an assumption, all right? Like, it assumes that there is a minimum and then postulates what that minimum might be, right? Now, like, when you think about it, all right, is there life that doesn't have the same sort of DNA that you do?
So yeah. So what do you say? Is there life that have the same DNA as I do?
No, that doesn't have the same DNA as you do.
Yes.
Yeah. So could you give me some examples?
Well, DNA. You see, DNA is complex in itself. I mean, for example, if we have family DNA, then everyone else's DNA is completely different. If you're talking about an animal, well, yes, it's completely different DNA altogether.
Well, that's actually not true. Okay, people from the same family are related genetically, and you can see that.
First of all, you said about minimal gene theory. Actually, no, the minimal gene theory concept was, listen, it was created, and it was said that no human can go below the border of 365 genes. Yet evolution believes we were created from 0 genes. So how on earth can you believe in evolution when minimal gene theory? First of all, let me explain something. It's called a theory, but it's actually not a theory. The same with the atom theory. It's not actually called atom theory. It's actually a proven thing. The same with minimal gene theory. It's a proven thing. And so when it says you can't go below the border of 365 genes, you cannot go below the border of 365 genes, nor can you be created from 0 genes. So, and not just that, there's also many research on Charles Darwin actually having a mental illness, and I mean he wasn't exactly a sane person. So, from background context, how is this person a reliable scientist to actually go off?
No, that actually is a non sequitur. If he had a mental illness, that's not related. Everybody's checked his work, all right? So let's just deal with the claim that you made, all right? You made a claim that basically there's a minimum amount of information that constitutes life.
Yeah.
You haven't got any proof for that, okay? Like I looked it up on Wikipedia. It is a theory. It hasn't been proven. There isn't any
evolution.
Proof, right?
Evolution is too. If you're gonna go with that, evolution is still to this very day a theory.
Yes, mate, but look, everything in science is a theory. That's the thing you have to understand. There aren't any such thing as facts.
If you're going to say that, oh yeah, minimal gene theory is a theory, then the entire concept of life could be also a theory.
Correct.
So we
that
could
is exactly
be
what
Matrix movie, okay, where we're drugged up and we're in a dream.
Correct. That is correct. Yes, that could be true.
Our feelings, our sensitive touch could also be programmed by some unknown being. If you're going to go with that.
Again, correct. That could be true.
That's why the Quran is correct, because the Quran actually talks about why life actually exists, and it makes more sense. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you some scientific evidence from the Quran that was way ahead of its time. So let's just clarify, when was the Quran created?
I'm not exactly sure when the Quran was written.
It was created 1400 years ago, okay? Now, when the Quran was created, it actually states in the... First of all, a misconception in Arabian time was that a baby was held into the stomach, whereas the Quran disproved this and actually said it was held in the uterus. So that's one scientific fact. Secondly, I'd like to address the issue that the Quran actually talks about Big Bang Theory 1400 years ago, where it actually says that it was... because as we know, Big Bang Theory starts from heat and density, where molecules join and then separate, and then there's quarks, so blah blah blah, and then basically, in a nutshell, over time, the universe became what it is today. But the main thing was molecules joined and separated. The same way in the Quran, it says that the small atoms joined and separated, and the entire universe was created like a Big Bang. Remember that phrase, Big Bang, is literal in the Quran, and so this. And so a majority of people that I've spoke to have a misconception that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was illiterate. So explain to me, how can an illiterate person who was born in a poor tribe have such knowledge of things?
Explain so let me explain a couple of things to you. The first thing is, the Big Bang is a metaphor. That isn't what it's like. That's a colloquial name, all right?
Yes.
Like the theory is not best described by the word Big Bang. That happens to appeal to you, okay?
Yes.
Like in reality, I know this. Expansion from a singularity is the correct way to talk about it, and there's nothing bang about that at all, right? So, like, quickly moving on.
Well, actually, no.
It seems to me as if we're clashing.
The universe.
Just quickly, let me deal with something else, man.
Pardon? Hello?
It seems to me that I said, just quickly, let me deal with something else, okay? It seems to me that you and I are clashing on a more fundamental level than religion, which is that you and I don't seem to agree about epistemology, all right? You said to me before that some things in science have been proven as fact and some of them haven't. Okay, now, so can you describe to me the method for proving something to be fact?
Yes, I may, in sync. So what actually happens is there's there's a series of things that can happen. Depends on what you're looking at. For example, if you're trying to, I don't know, look for a cure, then there's obviously many methodologies of doing that and ethical issues and stuff. But if you're actually doing something, for example, trying to prove an atom, okay, no one's actually ever seen an atom. Am I correct on saying that?
What do you mean by try to prove an atom?
Wait. So what happened was, okay, is that the theory of an atom was actually not recent. It came from Greek times. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, and so majority of people, I can't remember his name, but majority of people actually disproved him because they believed into the four elements of earth, water, fire, and air.
Well, I mean, I don't see how that's relevant. That seems like a non sequitur, but I'll give you it. Yeah, I'm sure people did.
Majority of people thought of everything was made up of fire, air, water, and earth. Okay. Then the person came with the idea of particles. Then later on, it was basically established once again. And then what happened is that electrons are found and protons are found, but to this very day in 2018, almost to 2019. No one has actually ever seen an atom. Yet it is stated, it's fact, and it must be taught in all schools, no matter what country you come from. If you have a school, you must learn about the atom.
Incorrect. It is not stated as fact. No competent science teacher will tell you that the atom is a fact.
So 1 minute. If atom's not fact, the entire basis of science is destroyed completely.
No, I think you're misunderstanding that just because science isn't a certainly proven thing, that thus it has no accuracy. That's ridiculous. That's not a valid dichotomy, right?
Okay.
Science, I asked you a question just before, right, which was, what exactly is the criteria for proof, right? And you tried to give me an example, and I appreciate the example, but I don't think you made your point. Could you try to be more specific? Speak to the point of the question I'm asking you, which is, what does it take to prove something? What is the criteria that categorizes evidence as sufficient to prove something to be certain?
Okay. So, listen, I'm going to explain to you in a very brief way on how we can prove something to be like fact, okay? So let me tell you this. Actually, first of all, you said to me, before we carry on, you said to me that the theory in atoms not fact. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
So if you believe, this is the thing, right? Atoms don't exist. Firstly, the entire majority of concept of science completely is expanded, okay? I mean, majority of chemistry, the things that we do in chemistry literally comes from an understanding of an atom. Secondly, the understanding of, for example, computer science also comes from atom, as we literally in quantum computers program in the size of an atom. So, thirdly, I would like to mention the fact that, biology in a sense actually goes down as well. Physics in actual astro sense actually goes down, and the entire Big Bang theory actually goes down as well. And so all these big, massive, bold statements scientists over the years have created go down. So in sync. So I would like to say that if atoms don't exist, you've just basically disproved your belief in atheism.
Okay, so I don't actually think you understand, mate, all right? The fact that I said that atoms do not certainly exist is not in any sense equivalent to the proposition that they do not exist at all right? So I'm going to quickly go through 3 questions with you, and we're going to see what you have to say, all right? Okay. Have you ever studied computer science?
Yes, I have.
All right, okay. So can you tell me how a computer works?
I'm a computer science student, you do realize this.
Cool. I have studied computer science, so why don't you tell me how you think a computer works?
Okay. Well, a computer works. Well, you have a hard drive, what has a cache, what has an ALU, what has accumulator, has all these different components. You have RAM.
I meant like on a more fundamental level, right? How does a computer count something? Can you tell me that?
Okay. Well, a computer counts something by. Well, okay. First of all, you said, how does a computer work? Well, firstly, it actually has switches that are binary and stuff. So, off equals 0 and on equals 1. That's the most basic of understanding. So that's how a computer works in a sense. How a computer counts something is, I believe, well, from what I know, the clock counts things.
Incorrect. Okay, but it's not really relevant. Computer science. I was just checking your knowledge of computer science there because you brought it up. All right.
My knowledge in quantum computer science is kind of decent because you actually program into the size of an atom. If I'm correct, the output's determined first, then the input is determined. That's what makes a quantum computer so great.
Look, let's not talk about any different kind of computer unless you can tell me how a computer fundamentally counts. And it sounds like you're a little unsure about that one. So let's just move on. All right. Have you ever learned physics?
Yes, I do. My understanding really is an astro. Otherwise, majority of physics I'm not really interested in.
Okay, so you're saying that you understand astrophysics, but you don't understand.
Well, no, I understand physics, but I'm not a massive expert in physics. It's not my really my cup of tea. The only part actually of physics I do like is astro. But if you talk to me about it, I would know what you mean.
All right. So, have you ever studied the philosophy of science?
Okay, philosophy is a very big word. Who's understanding?
Philosophy is a relatively small word.
Actually, no. Philosophy is a big word because I mean, philosophy of science is there's many philosophers of science who have their own views on science.
Maybe what you mean is that philosophy is a big topic, but it's just a small word, man.
No. Philosophy, yeah, okay. Literally, it's a small word, but the term philosophy is broad. And you said philosophy of science, and depending on the philosopher who talks about science, it is extremely vast.
No, that's not really true. Like most philosophers of science actually agree about what science does.
No. For example, Isaac Newton believed in God.
That's irrelevant. Okay, the fact that Isaac Newton believed in God.
You said majority of scientists agree with each other. Isaac Newton believes in God.
How long did Isaac Newton live ago? How long ago?
Very long time ago. A time where God's word believed in.
So maybe that's not actually relevant today. All right. So let's look at modern scientists.
You see that claim within itself is just disproved another thing of yours. You just said that all scientists tend to agree with each other when they really don't.
No, that's not what I said. Excuse me. Please do not torment me.
Listen. I'm going to prove to you that God exists. Okay. I've disproved evolution. Actually, let's go back to the topic of evolution. You still haven't said anything about minimal gene theory. I've disproved it.
Listen, man. No, you haven't. I don't think you know what proof means, all right? And so let's just quickly deal with what you said. You said that what I said was equivalent to saying all scientists agree. That is so far from what I said that it's not even funny. If you did that on purpose, I don't appreciate it. And if it was an accident, pay more attention.
No, it was not an accident.
What I said was...
You said that majority of scientists agree with each other. That was your statement.
Incorrect. That isn't what I said. I said
correct. So what did you say then? Tell me. Explain to me.
Listen to me. Yes, I will if you let me speak. Okay. What I said was that most philosophers of science agree about the way science is conducted. That's not quite the same thing as most scientists agree about what's scientifically true, which is the claim that you tried to portray me as having made, and that's not at all accurate. I didn't say anything of the sort.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I wasn't really concentrating. I was actually looking at the message I received for interrupting. Can you say that again, please?
I said most philosophers of science agree about how science is conducted.
No.
That is true.
No. Give me an example.
Well,
I want you to give me an example. You made a claim. I want you to give me proof.
Have you ever heard of a guy called Thomas Kuhn?
Of course.
What's he famous for? Could you give me a quick description of him?
Well, Thomas. Sorry, what do you say, Thomas? Who?
Kuhn, K-H-M.
Who? Coombs?
K-U-H-M. Okay, this Thomas Kuhn.
Humes, okay. Well, Kuhn. Thomas Hoon.
Kuhn, look in the chat.
Hoon. All right, okay. Well, Thomas. All right, okay. Well, okay. Now I looked in the chat. Okay. So, well, Thomas Hoon was what I know of. He was a physicist. Well, that's what I know. He was extremely well known for. It was something along the lines of I'm not too sure, but I know he had something to do with physics, and I don't know. He did something. He was not really important though, as such.
Okay. So I'll stop you there, man. All right.
Well,
what he did was he wrote a book.
Yeah.
Which was called The Structure of Scientific Revolution.
Okay, what was it called? I'm going to search. What was it called?
The structure of scientific revolution.
The structure of scientific revolution. Okay, interesting. Never heard of this. I'm gonna
Right.
buy it. I'm gonna buy this. Okay, wait. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, what is it called? So yeah, carry on.
Yep. And every scientist I've ever talked to, when I ask them about Kuhn's ideas, they actually agree with him. Okay, because basically what he says is something along the lines.
You've spoke to scientists, have you?
Yeah, lots of them. What are you talking about?
Okay, so what scientists have you spoke to, for example, please?
I attend university. Okay, I've talked to like many people who are studying the sciences. Physics students, biology students, chemistry students.
Yeah. So
okay, the question is. Listen. The question is.
Okay.
The question is, okay, do philosophers of science agree about the way that science is conducted? All right, the way that science is conducted is, by definition, the application of the philosophy of science to disparate fields of inquiry. All right. So if they didn't agree about the philosophy of science, we wouldn't call it all science. It would be called different stuff. But it is called science because it shares a philosophy. The philosophy is called logical positivism. Right? Every scientist uses logical positivism.
Listen, scientists
they don't all agree about what's
on
true.
The same things. Okay, let me just clarify.
No, I never said that. I never said that scientists agree about what's true.
The way things are conducted, scientists agree on. Okay.
Yes, that's called the scientific method. That is true.
Yeah. Well, actually,
a scientific method.
You see, a lot of scientists. Okay, you see, a lot of scientists actually disproved not Stephen Hawking. What am I talking about? Sorry, Charles Darwin's for what he did, and they did not agree with his way of conducting science. So you're just proving yourself wrong again.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying, all right, that the philosophy of science, which is logical positivism, is applied by every scientist who does science, all right? Even if some scientists don't apply the philosophy correctly, which is what you're proposing is true about Charles Darwin. You're saying he didn't do it properly, all right? That doesn't make a difference about whether or not he was trying to apply logical positivism. He was, and everybody since then also was, and they all agree that logical positivism is the effective strategy for deciphering the world.
Let's just say they do. Okay, so carry on. What's your next point then after this? How is it going to prove any of evolution then? Please explain.
Okay, so then my next question is, according to the philosophy of science, how do you prove something, in your opinion?
I don't know. What would you say?
Well, I mean, so you don't know. You're conceding. You're not willing to try and come up with an answer.
No, I'm not. I want your opinion. I want to get to the end of this because I really want to see what your answer is. I'm really intrigued. So, what's your opinion?
Well, I have a feeling you're going to disagree with me. So how about we get your opinion? You're the one who made the claim. Listen. You're the one who made the claim.
It's called a debate for a reason, and so that's why I want to see.
Yes, it is called a debate for a reason. You made a claim. The claim was that the minimal genome theory was proven. Now, I do have the right to ask you to qualify what it is you mean by proof.
Okay.
How is it that something is proven?
Yeah. So listen.
How? Tell me.
So, okay, if you're going to go off of that basis, I've just said once again, and you actually agreed with me on this as well beforehand, and the majority of theories of science are then disproved.
I don't think you understand me. That is non sequitur. Answer my question. How does something become proven?
Okay, so as I'm going to repeat myself again. One minute.
Don't repeat yourself. It's a non sequitur response.
1 minute, please. 1 minute. What do you say? 1 second then. 1 minute. Yeah, just give me 1 minute, please. I need to do something.
If you give me another non sequitur response, I'll have to get a mediator to ask you the question.
By mediator, you mean me?
Yep. You or pretty unoriginal, or maybe a lawyer, depending.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. Hello.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. So, yeah, you said to me how something proven in science.
Correct.
Okay, so you tell me how something's proven in science, then please, in sync.
Listen, man, that's a redirect. You are the one who made a positive claim
Yes,
about
I
what
did.
is
Yes, I
proven.
did.
I
Yes,
am
yes.
justified in asking you to explain to me how you think proof is
Well, you see,
achieved, and I've
majority
done
of
so. Please
scientists
answer the
actually
question.
use minimal gene theory to prove some of their own theories. Thank you very much.
All right, can a mediator please force him to answer the question? That is a non sequitur response.
No, it's a secutive response, in sync. Because you said to me how something proven. So if something's not proven, why on earth would a scientist use it to actually explain their own theory? Explain that to me, please.
Look, I asked you a very specific question, mate. The question was, what method is used to prove something? Now tell me the answer.
Okay, as I've just said, time and time again, in sync, okay? If something is
can't
not
just repeat yourself.
wait, in sync. If something is not proven, okay, if something's not proven, why on God's name would a scientist use it to prove something? And why on earth would someone, a scientist, tell the entire whole wide world why something is true?
So that's not his question, King. All right. In different terms, right? So if there are any conclusions that have ever been made, he's asking what was the method for making those conclusions? If we have any sound data at all, any sound discovery, any sound information from which to base any further knowledge on, he's asking what the methodology is to come to any conclusion and to form any proof.
Okay, so listen, the way of making something proven, okay? For example, someone has a method, okay? So not method, sorry. Someone has an idea. Instinct, listening.
Yep.
Yeah, someone has
Yeah,
an
I'm listening.
idea, okay? They then, I don't know, carry out their methods and experiments, and they try to use other science to prove their own science, okay? Yes?
No.
Sorry, no. So let me explain again. Someone has an idea or a scientific theory.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They then conduct experiments and observations, okay, and they try to use science within itself to explain that type of science, okay.
No. Yeah, again, that's not what I'm asking. You are answering
You're
me
asking
about
me how to
how
prove science. So I'm
things are
explaining to
proven
you
today.
what's the steps of actually proving science.
Okay,
No. I'm saying, okay, take apart everything you think you know about science. Let's say you have to prove one assertion. You just have to prove one thing. You can't refer to any other knowledge, okay, except knowledge that is inbuilt in your system, okay? So reasoning, that's what you can use. You cannot use things we've derived from the environment. Now, using reasoning, please prove to me that a conclusion is true.
Okay. As I have said, in sync, when someone has a scientific idea, okay. For example, Pasteur had an idea of bacteria. Am I wrong? Okay. What happens is, by the way, do you believe in bacteria?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
of
think
course
he
I
did.
believe in bacteria.
Okay. Now explain to me: is that solid, or is that in the middle, or is that shady, or is that not proven?
That's pretty solid.
What? Yes, it's a conclusion that we can substantiate with sufficient evidence to believe it. That's what it is.
Okay, the same way with minimal gene theory, the exact same answer you gave, the exact same answer I gave to minimal gene theory. Thank you very much.
No, I don't accept that. That's not
Why?
actually not true.
No. You said to me,
sufficient
listen,
evidence.
instinct, my friend. You said to me, explain why minimal gene theory is proven. Okay, so I am
Yes.
explaining to you why minimal gene theory is proven. The exact same answer you have given for saying that bacteria is proven science. The exact same answer I am going to use for minimal gene theory.
Okay, so
Now, Big Bang is also being proven because Big Bang is happening at this moment of time as well, and so that's why Big Bang, in a sense, has been proven. It's fully been explained. It's not fully been explained, but it is proven. The same way with evolution. Now, there's actually no basis. Okay, there's only very little evidence that evolution in humans existed. Okay, the only fact that you have an evolution is animals. And as I said this before, in the Quran, it talks about adaptations of animals and how Allah created certain creatures
I'm
to
sure
be
it does, my
perfect in a
friend. Okay,
sense.
but
Okay, for example, in the Quran, Allah talks about why the camel is adapted to its climate and why it's so good. For example, it has big humps for a fat storage, and so it gives it more energy. Why it has thin legs, and why it has big teeth, long eyelashes to get rid of the dust. And so God talks about adaptation in animals, but he does not talk about adaptation within humans. And he says the first man created was Adam. And I've used minimal gene theory to disprove evolution, and you've still not had an answer yet. In sync. Yes, of course.
Yeah, you talked a bit long for my liking there, honestly, because you said something that wasn't true in the first paragraph, and then you swapped to 4 different topics. So I'm not too sure why you did that. All right. So what you did there was, you said you took my answer to the question, which was, right, how is something proven? And then you said, well, that's how my ideas are proven as well. Okay, but what you don't understand is that what I asked for and gave you was how things are proven in the abstract, right? And to say then that a claim is proven using that abstract method, you have to provide the evidence that classifies that claim as sufficiently demonstrated. Okay, and I'm saying that as far as I've looked into minimal genome, all right, if you look in the chat, the debate chat, we see minimal genome, a Wikipedia page, right? It doesn't actually say anything about the sufficient evidence that we've discovered.
Wikipedia does not tell you all the knowledge of the world on one person. For example, I can literally go on Wikipedia right now and I can look at, for example, something along Saint Abdullah John Philby, okay? It's not going to give his entire biography or his entire theological views on the entire world, is it? No, it's going to talk about certain aspects which are attributed to him, but not all the aspects. Same with minimal gene theory. Not all the theory is going to be written on Wikipedia. I mean, if that was, that'd be great. But unfortunately, we don't live in that sort of era where people have time to actually write all.
All right. Look, what you're saying then is that because Wikipedia doesn't map every detail of a person's life, that it's not sufficient to demonstrate the main ideas and the main evidence that supports a theory. That's actually incorrect, right? If you look up, listen to me. I'm not done.
1 minute.
I'm not done. All right.
Just 1 minute, please. Just stay 1 minute. I'll be 1 minute, please. I'm just going to go upstairs.
If I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't necessarily think the Big Bang is sufficiently described in the Quran, and I don't think atoms are even mentioned in the Quran.
1 minute.
Yeah, but let's just leave that claim aside because it's not. I'm not really interested in debating that.
It's explicitly mentioned in the Quran. Honestly, I mean, I recommend you look into it.
I have. So it says.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, you can quickly go. Go ahead.
Yusuf, can you read Arabic? It says ilaki and alaki. Okay, what does that mean? Explain to me, please.
Say it again.
Let Vivi talk, mate.
What does ilaki and alaki mean?
Say it again.
Ilaki and alaki.
All right, you might have to type that in Arabic. But what I was gonna say is the Quran mentions the expansion of the universe.
Very old Arabic.
Listen, man.
And on a Thursday, God created the atom as explained by in the Quran. And also, not just that, Big Bang is literally referred to as a Big Bang in the Quran. I recommend you look into it. A very long topic within itself. But as I was saying, anyway, go back to the point.
Mm-hmm.
So in sync. I have explained to you.
No, I wanted to hear Vivi's point. Okay, Vivi had something to say. Let's let him speak.
Okay, Vivi, what do you have to say?
So yeah, I was gonna say the Big Bang. I read the Quran I speak Arabic, and I read it in its original language, and I haven't seen anything about necessarily a Big Bang. I see 2 things that you have mentioned, but it's vaguely mentioned, and that's the separation, right? That everything started from a separation, which makes sense, right? And then there's also the expansion of the universe. Those 2 things are mentioned.
Yeah. And that's why I have something called tafsir. Tafsir goes with the Quran, and what happens is that tafsir explains the verse in depth. And so we have tafsir of the Quran. Have you read tafsir of the Quran or not?
Yeah, but the thing is,
because I mean, if you're going to the Quran, you need tafsir. I mean, if you don't have tafsir, there's literally no point in you reading it at all.
You're telling me that I have to rely on a person to?
Yes, because in the Quran, listen, in the Quran it says behead all kafirs. Are you going to behead all the disbelievers now?
Say it again.
In the Quran it says behead all disbelievers. Are you going to behead all disbelievers now?
Why not?
Why not?
I think that Vivi
in the tafsir it basically says. Sorry, wait a minute. What does it say? At King Tan, to make an assertion about another language, you need a type of here. Okay, as I was saying. listen, I'm going to explain something, okay? So by you saying, okay, listen, you need tafsir. It said kill all kafirs in the Quran, okay? Tafsir says that was revealed in the Battle of Badr, okay? And that was only meant for the Quraysh, okay? And so you can't exactly use that statement and kill all the disbelievers. Am I right? Am I wrong?
I'm gonna agree to the latter statement. I don't agree with your first statement because everybody has their own tafsir, and they're gonna say this is the right tafsir, that is the right tafsir. How do you know what somebody's telling you, right? You're telling me that I have to rely on a person.
Yeah, that's why you have something called a silsila, a chain.
A chain to what?
A chain to explanations. So that's why you have theological views. That's why you have difference in Islam. That's why you have difference in everything, Yusuf. For example, okay, listen. From a theological point of view, you have two main understandings. You have Maturidis, okay, and you have the Asharis, okay. So they both differ a bit. So I am a Ash'ari, okay. Then you have Sufism, where you follow, okay. That's tasawwuf as far as Ihsan's concerned. And once you've joined Sufism for everyone, okay. But now, as far as a tariqat goes, you need to go to join a tariqat, okay? So you have 4 tariqats, okay? There are 4
so
main
first of all, do you know what tariqah means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
Tariqat is kind of like a silsila of an understanding, okay? So you have 4 different types of tariqat. What?
Yeah, but I mean like literally Arabic.
Well, I'm not too sure, okay? But listen,
tariqah is a path.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's exactly a chain of understanding. So tariqas, you have the 4 main ones. You have Naqshbandi, you have Qadri, you have Qadri, you have Suhawardi, and you have Chishti. Okay, so the 4 people that Bahawudi, Naqshbandi, you have Hawaj Mu'ayyidin, Chishti, Sultan al-Hind, you have Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, and you have many other imams that are previous to this, like Imam Ghazali and Imam Qutbi and Imam Suyuti. Okay, but listen, I'm going to finish off, okay? So you need to have a chain to authenticate something, okay? And that's why a majority of ahadiths you read, for example, Ibn says in Bukhari Sharif, raise your hands when you read your salah. Now, you can literally make a cross sign for all you know, and that's raising your hand. That's why you have madhab, and that's why they explain in what way. For example, there was Imam Jafar Sadiq who had 3 students who were one of the 3 madhab leaders. So you had Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa. These had 3 students, and they both explained it in their own different ways. Malikis basically, they say their own thing. Hanafis say that you have to put your hands to your ears and then read the salah. Now that's in terms of fiqh. In terms of Aqidah, that's a whole different matter, and that's why you follow people like Sufism and Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani and Hawaj Mu'ayyidin, Sultan al-Hind, and that's why I follow people like Bahawuddin Naqshbandi, and you have Brelvis, and that's a different sect, and then you have Salafis, and that's like Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, and that you have all these sort of
things. So all this you've just told me, right? Tell me where in the Quran did any of it just apply?
Pardon? Where in the Quran did it apply?
I'm saying like the Quran is like the original source, right, of Islam.
Yeah.
It's like the script we referred to. And some people can argue like hadith, right? Hadith come from the Quran because it says follow the Prophet, right?
Before we carry on, is this being recorded, by the way?
Yes, it is.
Yes, so Yusuf, if this is being recorded, literally the original thing was for me to debate with Instinct. I promise you I'll speak to you later after this.
Of course.
I'm just trying to debate directly. So okay. Remind Yusuf,
I apologize.
Inshallah, I'll speak to you literally after this. I'm going to have like another 5 minutes with him, whatever, and I'll speak to you, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Inshallah, so yeah, Instinct, let's carry on.
So talk about...
Hello, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, you said 5 minutes with me, is that right?
Yeah, another 5 minutes. I want to talk to Yusuf as well, you see, about all this thing. It's a long matter within itself.
Of course, yeah.
Is that fine, or is it kind of offensive towards you? Or...
I don't really think that you've made much progress on your side of the argument. Maybe you think you've proven me wrong, but I don't really think you've even told me what proof is. You made me tell you what proof is, and then you claim that proof supports your claims without providing any evidence. And that's actually called an assertion. I'm not sure if you know that word. It means something that you say is true, and I don't accept it until you provide me evidence, right? So you make assertions about what's true, right? Then when I say to you, you explain to me the evidence that justifies that
I want to use your words against you to basically prove my own point. That's what makes a stronger argument, in my opinion.
Yes, that may make a stronger argument, unless you're wrong, in which case it makes you sound confusing.
For example, Instinct, say if you're a Christian, okay, Now, am I going to narrate things from my Quran that proves you wrong? Am I going to narrate things from your Bible that proves you
Listen,
wrong?
man, I understand the
I want to answer the
tactic,
question.
okay?
Yusuf, can you explain
I
the question to him,
understand
please?
the tactic.
Okay, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I says, for example, instinct, hypothetically, pretend you was a Christian, okay? And I used the Bible, sorry, you had a Bible, okay? Would I use the Quran to point my point of view across to you, or would I use the Bible to prove you wrong?
No.
Listen, man, I understand the tactic. You'd use the Bible. You'd use the Bible because you rely on what your opponent thinks to show them that it's false. I understand. No, we don't agree. I understand. I understood from the beginning that tactic. The thing is, mate, that the way that you tried to use what I said wasn't valid. You didn't make any sense, okay? And I don't think you realized that. Right? But when I asked you what sufficient evidence you could provide to satisfy the burden of proof that is necessary for you to satisfy the claim that a minimal genome theory is proven true, I asked you what evidence proves it, and you couldn't tell me.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Do you believe minimal gene theory is true?
No.
You do not believe it's true?
There's no evidence. Give me the evidence.
Yes, thank you so much. You've just disproved this. You've disproved the majority of science.
No, I haven't. I don't think you understand the way that science works. Listen to me, mate. Listen to me.
Theories in the world.
Let me.
Yes.
Just stop for a sec, okay? Just stop for a sec. Let me illustrate to you, using an example, what kind of ridiculous thing you're saying, okay? Gravity is very widely accepted, all right?
What reality?
Gravity exists.
What reality?
No, gravity. Gravity, the fact that things fall.
Yeah.
Yes. Gravity is widely accepted. Now, in your opinion, has gravity been proven?
Yes.
False. Actually, no scientist will accept that from you.
You can literally measure gravity.
That's called an observation, a measurement, or a demonstration. That isn't true.
Due to the fact, look, listen, we can go on all day about gravity and stuff, okay? Listen, gravity might not be proven, scientifically, to an extent, but yet it's widely accepted. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, correct. But what I'm saying is, listen. What I'm saying is, if we agree then that gravity is widely accepted, but you admit that maybe gravity is not proven scientifically, then I put it to you this, okay? Gravity is one of the most widely accepted facts that there is. If gravity, of all things, has not been proven scientifically, why do you suppose your ideas have?
Oh, sorry, can you say that again? I didn't exactly catch that.
Yep. If gravity has not been proven scientifically, why would your idea have been proven scientifically?
Let's put it. So if gravity is not being proven scientifically, why has minimal gene theory proven scientifically?
No, I said gravity. Okay, gravity. We all agree gravity is true.
Yeah.
Right, but a scientist can't prove it.
The same way scientists can't prove atoms.
Correct. And the way a scientist can't prove minimal gene theory.
Like I've said before, the exact first
time.
Listen
to me.
Looked up, and this entire census of the world is being programmed by some alien being who has some sort of godfather who gave him some supernatural powers from a movie. Okay.
Shush, man, you might find that ridiculous, but that isn't the point, all right? What I'm saying is, if gravity hasn't been proven, why has minimal genome theory been proven? Explain that to me.
Well, it's widely accepted. Okay, fine.
So it hasn't been proven.
Listen, okay? It's widely accepted, okay? So if
they're not the same.
Listen, how can you believe in evolution when that's not been proven either as well?
I already explained that to you, mate. Okay, there's a sufficient amount of evidence to justify the confidence I award to the belief.
Pardon?
There is a sufficient amount of evidence to justify the confidence I afford to my belief in the theory of evolution.
The same way with gravity, and the same way with atoms, and the same way with, minimal gene theory.
I accept every one of those except the last one. Show me the sufficient evidence for minimal gene theory.
Show you? Sorry, excuse me.
Yes.
Listen, I can't exactly get an entire book or something to explain to you why.
Well, that is your job.
Yeah,
That is your job. You're the one saying it's true. Yes.
You have a time limit. I can't
Listen.
entire passage and send it to you, okay?
Listen. If you are going to come in here and make claims about what's true, you'd better have access to the evidence, all right? If you want to suspend the debate until you can gather your evidence, that's fine with me.
What part of your logic honestly thinks that minimal gene theory, okay, is not widely accepted? Minimal gene theory is widely accepted by scientists, and if you do not accept minimal gene theory, then you do not accept majority of science.
Incorrect. That is a false equivalency. Minimal gene theory. It's not. Okay, you have to provide proof, evidence for your assertions. Okay, where is your evidence that scientists?
I want you to provide me proof that evolution
happened. I am not done talking. All right.
Okay.
Charles Darwin already provided the evidence for the theory. That is why scientists accept that it's true.
You see, the hilarious thing is, the interesting thing is, you take your, science from a person who was widely known as a madman, okay, was mentally ill, was not exactly sane, okay. You take your theories from him, yet you can't take a minimal gene theory from a person who is mentally sane and did not have any problems or medical issues mentally, okay?
What makes you think that someone... No, stop talking.
You're taking your logic from a person who can literally say that, for example, if you're mentally ill, I do not have any problem. I don't have any problem. Let's just go thing across, okay? Mental illness is not a thing to be.
No. You just started talking about mental illness. Let's address that, okay? What makes you think that a mentally ill person isn't capable of reaching sound conclusions? Give me the evidence for that.
Okay, listen. If you're mentally ill, you're going to have people have illusions. Okay, listen. I have family members.
Delusions.
Listen. Can I speak 1 second? I've had family members who have been mentally ill, and they say extremely, abnormal and obscene things that are just like extremely weird. Okay, for example, mental illness has caused some people to believe that to an extreme that they're carrying baby Jesus in their stomach. So if that's what the side effects of mental illness is, how can you trust such a man like Charles Darwin to be true?
Because, obviously, just because someone has some delusions doesn't mean that everything they think about the world is wrong. If I ask someone who thinks that... No, listen to me. Listen to me.
Okay.
I'm not done speaking, okay? If I ask someone who's mentally ill, who has delusions, if they have baby Jesus in their stomach, and they say yes, then obviously I probably shouldn't trust them about that, because that seems unlikely to me, right? But if I then ask them, stop, I'm not done talking. I wasn't done speaking, all right? If I then ask that same person, how exactly do you get to the answer of 22 times 44? And they can tell me the correct answer, and they can give me the correct reasoning, which happens, all right? Mentally ill people are still capable of reasoning. If they can give me the correct answer to a mathematical problem, what justification do I have for distrusting reasoning with this sounds just on the basis that they have some delusions?
Okay. So what I'm going to say is...
Of course.
So you're telling me that it's mentally sane for a person to say that we were apes turned to human. Honestly, do you think that's really acceptable?
Mm-hmm.
Instinct, are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening. Sorry, say that again.
So, do you think it's acceptable for a person to accept for a mentally ill person to say that monkeys turn into humans over a period of time?
Well, yes, sure do.
No, please explain to me First of all, you have no solid evidence that that even exists.
Actually, there is solid evidence for that.
No, there's really not. Listen, for example, gay gene theory is also another thing created by scientists that's also false. Atoms, we can listen all day why science could be wrong, okay? The point is, evolution came from a mentally ill person who was not sane, who said, animal, basically, that we used to be molecules into the sea, that turn into apes, that turn into humans, okay? That also says... No, I'm not done, okay? Because majority of scientists actually criticized him for his theories as well. And not just that, minimal gene theory disproves this, as I've said on several occasions. Minimal gene theory disproves Darwin's.
We already covered your use of proof is wrong. Do not use it again. I do not accept that word. You admitted.
Your use of proof is taking it from a mentally ill person. Explain to me what use of proof is that.
You don't understand, okay? My use of proof has nothing to do. Stop talking over me. My use of proof has nothing to do with a mentally ill person. The way that I prove things is the way that philosophers and scientists have proven things for centuries now, okay? The idea that you're putting forward that I get my proof from Charles Darwin is ridiculous. I said Charles Darwin provided evidence. Now, if you don't find the evidence compelling, fine, I'm not forcing you to. But when I look at the evidence, I see a pattern, and the pattern is that humans share DNA with monkeys and with every other animal on the planet, all right? And the reason that we share that DNA can be shown when we model it. It can be shown that our ancestors diverged from a common ancestor.
A pig is kind of similar to a human, okay? And that's what trying to make human pig embryos, okay? And stuff like that. But listen, I think you're understanding. Because the DNA is similar, make evolve from that species.
I don't think you understand how similar DNA is, my dude.
No, it's really not that similar, okay?
It really is.
No, please, okay, explain to me from what scientist has proven that animals' DNA is extremely similar to ours.
You keep insisting on the word proof. I already covered in this debate. It's being recorded. I demonstrated to you that the word proof is
I want
appropriate.
You to prove.
Listen to me. I don't accept the challenge. Proof is the wrong word.
I want you to show me, okay, what scientist has proven that that DNA, that animals' DNA is extremely similar. Look at the word extremely similar to humans' DNA.
Okay, look, King Tan, if you use the word proof again in a challenge, I'm going to end the debate. You don't seem to be following.
Okay, so tell me what's proof in your opinion then. You're really not expanding upon anything.
I told you, proof doesn't exist, okay? We demonstrate things with proofs, which is a method of demonstration, but when we have demonstrated something, it isn't proven with certainty. It's not proven scientifically. It is substantiated beyond the reasonable doubt that we might afford to other theories, okay? So what we're saying when we say that something has been quote-unquote proven is actually that we've performed that experiment that demonstrates observably that our idea is consistent with what we can see in our environment. Now, does that mean that the idea is certainly true?
Pretty unoriginal, no. You said you shouldn't rely on mentally unwell people. Maybe you shouldn't rely on Muhammad. Okay, I'll explain to you.
No, man, that's non sequitur. That isn't related to the debate. You address what I said.
Pretty unofficial.
Yeah, that's not the point.
I'll explain to you why that's why Muhammad is actually saying, and why we can take evidence from him. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So go back to the thing, okay? Instinct, okay? Listen, okay? I want you to please, okay? I'm not going to use proof. I want you to show me what scientist has evidence to show that a human's DNA is extremely similar to animals' DNA.
Okay, just give me a sec.
Okay.
All geneticists have done that. All geneticists. Geneticists, like the whole field of genetics is entirely about that. Here you go, mate.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just going to drop some articles in here for you. Oops.
Just go on the
I'll just leave that one.
and drop some articles.
Okay, listen. Do you believe...
you asked for proof. You asked for proof. What I'm giving you is evidence. Okay, there's 5 different articles, 5 different sources. Geneticists all over the planet concur on this issue, right? They all agree humans share so much DNA with animals.
Yeah, this is not
anything.
My friend. This is not.
You asked for evidence. This is evidence. This is evidence.
This is not strong evidence. Okay. First of all, I want to point a thing across. Do you believe that humans used to be lizards?
What?
Do you believe humans used to be lizards?
Are you asking me if at some point in our evolutionary timeline we were reptiles?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking? Yeah, I probably do believe that. Like, I'm not certain on the specifics of that one.
No, probably. I want a yes or a no.
Shush. I am not educated on every step in the evolutionary process, but from what I know, yes, lizards, reptiles, if that's what you mean by lizard, reptiles did come before mammals. So yes, humans evolved from the ancestors, which were reptiles. Yes, that's accurate.
So this is extremely interesting. Okay. Actually, also another question I have: was evolution taking part during the time of dinosaurs or after the time of dinosaurs?
But both. That's how dinosaurs came to be as well, mate.
Okay. So, do you believe giants ever existed?
No.
Okay, I can show you evidence that giants exist.
Okay, well then do so.
Okay,
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying I haven't seen any evidence. And if you're going to link me one source, you'd better corroborate that, mate.
Okay, yeah, first of all, I want to put from my point of view what a giant is, okay? So God, in my opinion, God, from my understanding, God, from my understanding, created giants first, okay? So they used to be 60 cubits tall. Later on, and God created them as tall to coexist with dinosaurs. Later on, dinosaurs were extinct because God punished us as humans to be smaller, and so that's why God has made us small. But also, you know, there's bones that exist that actually are human and
Look,
that belong to. Yeah, hello.
Like, that was an interesting story. You told me a story from the Quran. Interesting story, dude. But I asked you for evidence. Please provide me. Please provide me with evidence, okay?
Yeah, sure.
You keep saying there's bones. Show me. Yeah, show me. I don't believe you.
Okay. 1 minute.
And I'd really appreciate it if you could link me two sources who independently confirm the same thing.
Yep, fine.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and join us in the Nameless Debates Discord. We hope to see you there.